Hey, welcome, Atomic Situp Federation. Hey, we're going to be doing a different thing this year. We're going to be doing a little bit of a podcast and weekly recaps. And we're going to start with a draft recap. So, hey,
Yes, sir.
why don't we jump right in? Here I am with my friend Josh Fleming, draft expert. And we're going to start with the atmosphere around the draft. Josh, what'd you think?
Great atmosphere. Shout out to the Burning Barracudas for the chips. The Moscow Mules were
Moscow
a big
Mules,
hit in the 12 and under crowd. But yeah, it was great. Everything was rolling well. Everyone had their laptops logged in, ready. Ryan Hennebush wasn't there, so that always helps when you're trying to get everyone logged in.
A little upsetting, though, I will say. A little upsetting. Some of the mojo of the draft got thrown off kilter, derailed a little bit. And when Darren Green walked in, like a bull in a china shop, and then it was like, hey guys, and then he's all like, well, who should I draft?
What should I do? And I just thought, if you're going to send a co-owner, I want to see the co-owners draft together.
I looked around at the faces, and people were incredulous.
Yeah, so
I almost threw the whole thing sideways.
Exactly. Now, the only reason we can mention that now is because we thought both that Darren came around and really redeemed himself the rest of his draft. So shout out to the Green Experiment. It will be interesting to see how the rest of the year goes for you. Moving on, Le'Veon Bell was the first pick overall. Get your popcorn ready. Now, I love Le'Veon Bell, great player. David Johnson, consensus overall number one. We thought there were a couple factors that might have gone into that. Now, Alex is drafting via Skype, and we saw a couple things in the camera.
Yeah, a little bit of a hazy, potentially smoky background going on behind Alex. I'm not sure it was hard to make it out. A little bit of ducking away and things like that. And so, I mean, drafting Le'Veon Bell, who has a little bit of a history.
With the weed.
Yes, with the Mary Jane.
I mean, you add it up, you get player who likes weed. You get hazy background. Off at college by yourself, ducking away off the. I mean, hey, I'm not saying anything.
Later on, Alex drafts LeGarrette Blunt.
Yeah.
I think it's all pretty clear that Alex may have a problem.
Brad, I'd get on the phone real quick if I were you.
All right, so second round, going to the very first pick in the second round, we had just a great example of how Dex was puppeteered by Sam all day.
Oh, yeah.
With the DeMarco Murray pick. Sam literally, could have had his hand up Dex's butt and flapping his mouth for him. DeMarco Murray!
Yeah, we know who the real owner is. Moving on. One of the biggest controversies in the 10-year run of the Atomic Situp Federation was what happened in round two. Jim jumped the gun Allen, not the only place where he jumps the gun, if you catch my drift, did something crazy. What did he do?
Yeah, Jim premature edraftulated. And he yelled out, Brandon Cooks! But it wasn't his pick yet. And so Caleb swoops in with the ultimate clock block.
Exactly.
And drafts Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, I mean, questionable if you ask me. He says he was going to do it anyway, but we'll never know. Just like how many takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. So as we continue as we continue on, now, Steve, I was looking at your roster, and I noticed that in round 4 you drafted Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Now, the man is...
He's a beater.
He's a beater. A woman beater. Like an 87 Chevy.
Yes,
he's a beater.
He's a real beater.
What were your thoughts, and what are you going to do going forward?
It's always a conflict when you look at a guy who's got skills like that, but he's a beater, or he's just a bad guy. I mean, do you want to have bad guys in your team, guys you wouldn't root for in life, or root for your team? And so I had to make the call in the moment. I'm not going to say that I'm in love with the call, but he was the best running back on the board at the time. I think he's got a high upside. I will make a commitment right now to the league, though. If he beats again, I will cut him. And I mean...
Cut him faster than... Yeah.
If he
hot knife through butter.
Yeah. And when I say he beats another woman... cut him, not cut him, he won't be on my team.
Exactly. We're not about violence here. Yeah. Continuing on, I mean, you got to mention it again. This is when Dex exited the league or exited the draft and let Sam and Ben and Luke take over. They drafted the Seahawks D in round 8. That's something of a tradition. I might consider it grounds for kicking someone out of the league if they got in the way of that tradition anymore. What do you think, Commish?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I mean, the only thing I would say is if the Seahawks D goes past round 9, then they're
fair game.
They're fair game. But
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, they've got to be reserved for Texas Daisies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, a real interesting thought there. Their draft strategy was let's draft him so, no one else can have him. And in this case, they got it.
It's a solid strategy.
Good for them.
It's a solid strategy. They used that in a number of picks, which was good. Hey, so the next thing that happened in the draft, also in round 8, was one of the more unfortunate occurrences in the draft.
Kind of killed the vibe.
Yeah, it really did. Nick Goodwin drafts Cameron Meredith. And Nick, he's pretty happy with himself and all excited about Cameron Meredith, and everybody starts looking around. And
Do we tell him? Do we tell him? The man is an adult, and he must be treated as such. So we had to let him do what he wanted to do. We had to let him make his own choices.
I think it's karma. I mean, Ryan has Nick draft for him for the second year in a row.
Mm-hmm. Should Nick just take his spot? I don't know.
It's not. Yeah, I think maybe, but it's not Nick's fault. It's karma.
I mean, at least he could log in. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to be logging in. By the way, if you'd like to suggest names for Ryan's team this year, I will be naming it again.
Now, heading into the last couple of rounds, any picks that stood out to you? Maybe one sleeper pick that could really make a difference down the road.
Well, I thought that the pick of Kevin White, interestingly enough, by the Green Experiment, could be a great pick. Cameron Meredith's hurt, as we were just saying. Kevin White was a first-round pick 2 years ago. He's been injured. Now, he doesn't have a great quarterback thrown to him, but I could see him being the wide receiver 1 for the Bears, pulling down 70 receptions and 1,200 yards and maybe 10 touchdowns pretty easily.
As a leading receiver out there for Mitchell.
On the other hand, he could tank. I mean, there is a reason why you go in the 13th round. Any for you?
Yeah. Shout out to Cougar Wrestler of the Week. Great team name and team picture. You should check it out if you haven't. Cameron Brate in round 14, pick 166. Cameron Brate playing for Tampa Bay. Got Jameis throwing on the ball, famous Jameis. And you're going to have Deshaun Jackson split out on one side, Mike Evans split out on the other, and that's going to attract a lot of safety help. So and with Doug Martin in the backfield too, I mean, you're going to have some serious openings down the seam, some serious options on option routes. He's going to be open. He's going to get his touch. He's going to get his scores. So that could be a big-time pick for a team that's really shaping up well in Cougar Wrestler of the Week.
I mean, that's why I have him here. The technical prowess, the understanding of football at its core, it's pretty amazing. Josh, hey, thanks for your time, man.
Absolutely.
This has been a good draft recap. And guys, get ready for a great season.